Hi all, this is Srikanth. Today I'll walk you through security key authentication using a demo banking website to show how a hardware key can replace codes and passwords with a simple touch or tap. We will cover the problem with the traditional multi-factor authentication and how security keys solve it, and we will walk through a banking scenario covering registration, login, re-authentication, and we will look at how the challenge response protocol works, and we will wrap it with the business value. Today, most multi-factor authentication relies on typing codes, whether it can be from email, SMS, or any other authentication apps. These codes can be phished. So a user types their OTP in a fake login page and the attacker has it. So these codes can be intercepted through SIM swapping or email compromise methods. Even Authenticator app requires the user to open an app, read the 6-digit code, and type it before it expires. That's still manual and still error prone. So what if the second factor was a physical key that you just have to touch or tap, nothing to type, nothing to share, and nothing to intercept? And that's the solution that we're talking about, the security keys. And that's exactly what security key authentication does. It uses the FIDO2 WebAuthn standard, the same protocol backed by Google, Microsoft, and Apple. So a security key is a small hardware device like a YubiKey that plugs into the USB port or connects via NFC. When you log in, the server sends a cryptographic challenge. So you just have to touch or tap the key and it signs the challenge and the server verifies the signature. There is nothing to type. Nothing leaves the key that could be phished. And the private key never leaves the hardware. And it takes about 2 seconds. This is the registration process. So when the user first time logs in after security key is enabled, the bank asks to register the key, and this is a one-time setup. User enters the username, bank verifies the password against the directory, and then server generates a registration challenge, a random cryptographic value tied to this account. The browser prompts to touch or tap your security key. User inserts a YubiKey and touches or taps it. The key generates a new key pair, signs a challenge with the private key, and sends the public key and signature back to the server. And the server verifies signature and stores the public key. Now a credential ID is issued. The key is now linked to the account. This happens only once. After this, every login is just a touch or tap. Now, what happens after the registration is done is the next day, user opens the bank website and enters the username. The server generates authentication challenge. This is a fresh random value, and the browser prompts to touch or tap the security key. User touches and taps the YubiKey. Key finds a credential for the site, signs the challenge with the private key, and sends back the signature. The server verifies signature against the stored public key. If it matches, the auth allowed is issued, and the dashboard loads. So here, no codes, no app to open, no copying and pasting, just touch or tap the key and you're in. And during the re-authentication later the day, user needs to access the sensitive information, say any wire transfer. The bank just requires the re-authentication. The process is identical to the login. Server generates a new challenge. User taps the key signs a challenge, and the user will be logged in. So this is just a simple procedure. Now let's try to understand how this actually works. Now, this is based on the challenge response protocol. We will see in detail in the demonstration going forward with the demo banking website. So this actually works with the challenge response protocol. So during registration, the server sends a challenge. Key generates a new key pair, signs the challenge, and returns the public key plus signature. The server stores the public key. And during authentication, the server sends a fresh challenge. Key signs it with the stored private key, and the server verifies using the public key. So if signature is valid, access is granted. So over here, the private key never leaves the hardware device. There is nothing to intercept, nothing to phish, and nothing to replay. So this is the demo banking website where I have configured the security key to work with the website, and I also attach the physical security key device to my laptop. So let's do the transaction and try to understand how the registration and authentication is working. So let me try with the username. This is a sample user, and I'm initially authenticating the user with the password. User is authenticated enough, and the system is asking to perform the registration of a security key. As you can see that it is asking me to attach a security key and perform the registration. And as mentioned, the security key is attached to the laptop, and I'll give some friendly name for the recognition, and I'll register the security key. So it is asking me to register the security key, and I will select the option, the second one, which is security key, and I'll proceed with the registration. So it is asking me to perform the registration. I'll click on OK. Now it is asking me to tap the security key. So this is like a one-time touch or tap during the registration. So I'm touching the security key for the response. Now it is saying that the authentication, the registration is done, and it is validating the registration that was done earlier. Now it is asking to verify the registration that was done, and I'm again selecting the security key option, and I'm tapping the device enough. The device verified, and the credential got created, and I logged in. So this is how I was able to use the pass key when the security key, and I was able to log into the website. Now let me try to log out and log in one more time and see what happens. So when I try to log in, post registration is done. It is asking for the first factor authentication. It is directly taking me to the security key authentication section. So I'm waiting for the prompt. So now it gave a prompt saying that use your security key to log in. Now I will select this option, the security key, and I will proceed with the authentication. Now it's asking me to touch or tap your security key, physically tapping the security key enough. The authentication is success, and I logged in. So this is basically the working of how the security authentication happens. So what happened over here is the server verified the signature against the stored public key, and the signature matched, and I was able to access the page. So over here, the private key never leaves the hardware device. There is nothing to intercept. There is nothing to phish, and there is nothing to replay. Thank you.